Hello everybody, tarot reader Gabby Turner here. I'm glad to have you. I had a viewer suggest this topic that we're doing in today's pick a card reading, which was if they consulted a tarot reader, what would that tarot reader tell them about you? So I'm focusing this towards romantic connections. So we're going to be focusing on like if a romantic interest of yours inquired about you romantically, what would they find out from a tarot reader? An accurate tarot reader, like myself. Check out my personal readings, links below. But anyway, these are the three options. I'm using this pretty cool deck that I got. I don't remember where I got this, but I don't think it was Etsy. I think it was some website, online mystical shop, but it's called the Bad Girl Oracle. I've had it for a while. I don't even use it that much, but the box has kind of fallen apart. But it's like and it's an indie deck, and it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's where these cover cards are from. So option number 1 is the Possessed. Timestamps below, listed with the name of the card. Option number 2 is the Coquette. And option number 3 is the Cyborg. So, like I normally do with my cover cards, I just shuffled the deck, and these are the ones that came out. So you can take your time sitting with that, deciding which option or options, maybe if you want to watch for multiple people, or sometimes even if you're just watching for one person, you can still get drawn to multiple piles. So there, your answer might be kind of coming through multiple readings. That can definitely happen. So in any case, let me know which option you chose and how the reading resonated for you. Use those timestamps, and I'll see you at your reading. All right, group 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the Possessed. And I have a few thoughts to start off with. So first of all, I shuffled and pulled a tarot card to help us explain the Possessed, because I did feel, I know if you, tell me in the comments if you've heard me mention this before, like my cover cards are not necessarily meant usually to be part of the answer. Like this was not necessarily meant to be part of the answer, but sometimes I feel like they're supposed to be. That said, I like to have nuance and specificity. So I pulled a tarot card, I shuffled and pulled a tarot card telling me what aspect of the Possessed they see in you, because the Possessed is sort of like, it could be someone who is guided by something larger than themselves, someone who is strongly influenced, someone who is literally possessed, someone who, I don't know, it could be someone who's very inspired, right? And maybe channels artistic expression or ideas or whatever, right? You can see one of her eyes is missing. So it's like, to me, there's some sort of connection, I feel, to needing to infuse your experience with the sight of something beyond yourself. And so the card that I pulled to clarify that is the 3 of Pentacles. So I feel like they could see you as someone either who does something for work that means that you need to be inspired by something outside of yourself, or you need to take direction. When someone is possessed, they're not totally in charge of their behavior. So I think they feel that you are not totally in charge of your behavior, and somehow that shows up in your work, because the 3 of Pentacles is a card about career. It's about putting our skills and talents to best use, collaborating with others in a workplace or on a project. So I don't know, they may feel that there's a large part of your life devoted to doing work that is not, you're the one having to do the work, but it's the information, the purpose, the design is maybe given to you. You're having to take what someone else brings to you. So here we have an artisan, and they're listening to these clients, right? About okay, I'm the artisan, I have these skills, resources, talents. What do you want me to do here? Like, how do you want me to create this archway, right? So they feel like this is an important aspect of who you are. You're someone who does have skills and talents, and yet you have to seek approval or guidance or input or some sort of purpose. It could be coming from your boss. It could be coming from clients or coworkers or what have you. That you're a co-creator who doesn't get to make all of the decisions on by yourself, but you do also have a lot of skill and autonomy, or skill and talent. So there's some level of autonomy, but the autonomy is shaped by something outside of yourself. So that's the first that I'm getting. I mean, that's kind of like most people are kind of living in this way, I would say, in some capacity. We don't get to decide everything about our lives. You know, we do have skills and talents, but we have to make use of those skills and talents within the context of a system, a company, an organization. You know, even if it's someone like myself, I have my own business that I have to answer to my clients, right? They come to me with specific questions and concerns, and those are the questions and concerns that I would respond to. But if I'm getting something beyond that, I still bring it to them, right? But it's still co-creative, it's collaborative, because then I say, okay, I'm also getting this, you know, but what if they don't want to talk about that, right? They don't have to. Ultimately, they are guiding the experience. So, but in any case, this is coming up. The other thing that I'm getting, because the timestamp for your reading was 2:07, the numbers 2 and 7 to me combined give a sort of feeling of being a little bit removed or introspective. There's something very introspective about those numbers. So I would say that they see you as introspective as well. Tell me more about 2:07, because I feel like that's part of it. Part of the answer that they would hear if they were to get a reading about you. Something about introspective. We have the Ace of Cups. You know, you're a very loving person, but I feel like your ability to love other people and have a full heart where you can like care about other people, right, comes from this place of it's sort of percolating or marinating inside of you. Like, yeah, there's this cup of love, but if you see, there are all these, like, it's hard to see, but there are all these bubbles in this glass, and then there's this weird, like, smiley face. It's like, I do kind of feel like maybe you get overstimulated, and when you get overstimulated by other people's energies, maybe you turn into kind of like this smiley face here. So it feels like you kind of have to process all of that. So I feel like that's where that retreat comes from. You're a sensitive person. They see you as a sensitive person who maybe needs to retreat, but then you see also these little leaves that are coming from it. You retreat, you need to go within and like kind of detach from other people's energy, because you soak it up, right? You soak up that energy so well. But you have to manage that, I would say. They see you as someone who needs to manage your sensitivity to other people's emotional energy. And yet that sensitivity is also what allows you to show up for other people. Yeah, we have the Three of Cups. They see you as someone who really cares about people. They do actually see you as like a very people-oriented person. And what we're getting right now is just how they're seeing you as a person, but we're going to get into like the romantic part of it as well. But in general, they see you as someone who really cares about other people, all different types of people, right? Like you're not the kind of person who it's like, oh, I only like this specific type of person. Like it feels to me like, or at least the way that they're seeing you, right? You can branch out. I feel like they think that you do see people for who they truly are. Oh yeah, the Lover's card. And they see you as someone who is capable of seeing the best in someone, even as you also see the worst. So that's great, you know. I tend to do this thing, or I have done this thing called splitting, which is a trauma response where you can like only see someone at their worst or only see someone at their best, and it's very difficult to see a more balanced, like, okay, this is just a human who has both good and bad qualities. Like, I feel that a tarot reader would tell them, I've been saying this wrong. When I say they see you as such and such, the tarot reader sees you as such and such, and this is what they would tell the person. A tarot reader would see you as introspective and sensitive and all of this. A tarot reader would see you as someone who can see and hold simultaneously both the good and bad in a person and care about that person as a whole person, right? You don't discount people because they have flaws. You understand that humans are flawed. That's just kind of how it is. And you try to see the best in people regardless. Okay, what else would a tarot reader say about you? Nine of Swords and the Justice card. They see you, this tarot reader sees you as someone who gets into like a spell of anxiety. You get in your head, you're overthinking, you're overanalyzing. However, you are good at also pushing yourself out of that, right? It's like every time you get into anxiety mode, you take that anxiety mode and almost use it as fertilizer, because the next card here is Justice, to bring mental balance. So you go through cycles of anxiety, overthinking, overanalyzing, and then it's like that sort of molts or evolves into, okay, I'm mentally balanced now. I'm mentally balanced now. I can see things more clearly. And I don't know, it almost feels like this process of going from anxiety to balance and inner peace, anxiety to balanced inner peace, healthy perspective. Like the back and forth of that is almost like churning your kundalini in a way. Because next card we get is the Death card, and we get more of these little leaves popping up here. I feel like these might be a special type of leaf here, but then we also have the coiling snake, which is symbolic of Kundalini rising. But in other words, I feel like this tarot reader would say that you seem to have a mental process that helps you to evolve your mental state, right? You keep evolving into healthier and more elevated mental states. You're not afraid of allowing your mind to go to difficult places. It's not like you just fall into anxiety. Sometimes you might even really lean into it. Lean into negative thoughts. Lean into even disturbing thoughts. And through that process, you evolve and sort of, it's like a stair step or a ladder upwards in your own consciousness. You're someone who raises your consciousness, and it's not an easy process. In summary. Okay. So what would this tarot reader tell them about the romantic connection between the two of you? What would the tarot reader tell them? If they were like, hey, here's this person, group one, this is my romantic interest. What would a tarot reader tell them about you? So the tarot reader would pull these cards. They would see you represented by the Eight of Wands. They would see the connection itself represented by the Seven of Cups. And they would see the other person the person that you're watching for, as the World card. I think basically they would say, you know what? I think that you are probably the one who's more enchanted with group one than the other way around. But group one does also fancy you. 8 of Wands. They have like crushy feelings. They have positive feelings. Yeah, like crushy, romantic. It feels to me, the tarot reader would say, I think group one maybe likes to think about you, and it makes them feel positive and good about life when they think about you. But it does seem that you might be the one who's more head over heels, and they just haven't quite gotten there yet. Group one hasn't quite gotten there yet to being head over heels, but they definitely are crushing on you. The shared energy between the two of you is the 7 of Cups, which I am clarifying with the Page of Swords. So I feel like the tarot reader would say to them, like, both of you are definitely trying to read beneath the surface of the other person. Both of you are kind of trying to suss each other out, to find out more about each other, to read the vibes, to read beneath the surface, to understand the subtext, right? Both of you feel like there's some sort of emotional subtext, that not everything is plain as day. It doesn't feel like anyone here is lying, but it just feels like maybe both of you are curious about each other and you're trying to figure each other out. It feels like a connection where I have the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Wands, where you're both kind of excited about each other. You stimulate each other. I'm using stimulate in the way that caffeine is a stimulant, right? You perk each other up. You make each other like more excited about life. But there's not enough, like you don't, it almost feels like maybe you don't know enough about each other, or you can't figure each other out enough to find out how to like actually, you know, plant this firmly into reality. Right? Because the Page of Pentacles is reversed. It's like, okay, here's an adventure. Let's see what happens. There's a curiosity. There's a being perked up and stimulated by each other. But there's no real glue. There's no bricks and mortar to kind of hold this down yet. 2 of Cups. But you both really are feeling the connection. Oh, and Page of Cups. Yeah, this is, you both mutually definitely have feelings for each other, and these are happy feelings. You both like each other. Oh yeah, you both like each other for sure. I mean, 2 of Cups and Page of Cups. Now this deck is called the Mars Power Tarot deck. I know the images are kind of, probably don't convey super well on camera, but and the Star card. I think you both see each other as a sort of wish fulfillment. You know, they would say to this person, like, okay, group one definitely sees you as a wish fulfillment. It feels like they're still just sort of wading in, you know, like taking a few footsteps into this energy with you. They feel it. They like it. It makes them happy. They're curious about you. They sense that there is a great potential here with the Star card, that what they've been looking for could be found with you, right? They see that potential. What else would a tarot reader tell this person about you? Yeah, Page of Wands. I mean, they would basically say that you have a crush on them. Page of Wands and Knight of Swords. I think that the tarot reader, though, might emphasize that you are approaching it a little bit with a free-spirited energy. However, you know, like, you're smitten. It's not like you're planning your whole future with them, however, but you see a potential here, right? Or, you know, yeah, you see a potential with this person. That's what a tarot reader would tell them. Group 1 sees the potential with you, but they're not really like firmly choosing any particular direction as well. The image it gives me is like, you know, Group 1 is standing at a crossroads with many potential roads, and they're one of those signposts which have, like, you know, signs pointing in all sorts of directions. And a tarot reader would tell this person, you're one of those signposts, and you do stand out to Group 1 as special, as one of those signposts that seems like a great choice to follow. We have the 8 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles. Group 1 feels that, this is what the tarot reader would say, Group 1 feels that if they wanted to commit to you as a path, it would probably bring primarily blessings to them. Obviously, it would take effort with the 8 of Pentacles. They would have to be committed to it, right? In order to receive the blessings from it, but they feel that they would be happy with you, that they're still sort of uncommitted. We have the Hermit card. I feel like Group 1 is not, they're just not ready to make a decision about which specific path. You know, they're coming through here with this Hermit. Again, we picked up earlier, Group 1 likes to retreat sometimes from other people's energy. They see your energy signature, they like it, they feel like there's a great value, but Group 1 is just not really ready to make a decision about exactly which path to follow. So that's the reading, Group 1. I mean, I hope that makes sense, because this type of reading where it's like the way that it's presented, it's hard to express it, right? Because we're imagining that this other person, you're the one watching the reading, but we're imagining what would happen if this other person that you're interested in got a tarot reading. You know what I mean? So hopefully you were able to follow that. That's what you have to do on your end, is like, pay attention, understand. I feel like I'm a airline, not an airline controller, but like a flight attendant. Like, pay attention, you know? These are where the doors are. You might need to know this. Anywho. All right. So give me some love, okay? Give me some love. It's difficult to navigate all of this, all right? I'm giving you some love by making this. You give me some love. That's how it fucking works. Thanks. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, Group 2, you chose the Coquette. Let's get into your reading. So first of all, you're lucky that you're not the first reading. I mean, the first reading was pretty cool, but it's this type of reading is hard to express, because I'm trying to explain to you what someone would hear from a tarot reader if they got a reading about you. So let's try to focus, okay? Me and you, right? It's going to take both of us. All right. So what would this tarot reader say about you? The first thing that they would pick up, I did pull a tarot card to kind of clarify the Coquette energy, because the tarot reader would be picking up this Coquette energy. They would see you as a flirtatious person who can kind of like wrap people around your pinky finger and people don't even mind getting wrapped around group two's pinky finger, the tarot reader would tell them. And they would say, specifically, people want to know who group two is going home with, because group two seems like they're probably can go home with anyone they want. Go home with, you know what I'm saying? Like, last call, who you going home with? And yet, I believe that group two is usually just going home alone. But there are lots of people, including you, who are coming to get a reading about group two. There are lots of people who seem to feel left behind or rejected or abandoned because they are assuming that group two is going home with someone. And they're like, I don't know who group two is going home with, but I want to know. So they would tell this person, you're not the only one who is interested in knowing what's going on with group two, because there's something very enchanting about group two. They are very flirtatious. It's easy for people to like them. It's easy for people to get crushes on them. But there's an air of mystery here about group two. And the truth is, they're really just going home alone, it seems like. So, as the tarot reader, what more can I tell you about group two? Let me see. What more can I tell you about group two? Let me tell you all of group two's secrets here. Okay, we have the Two of Cups reversed. Yeah, group two is definitely not involved. It seems like they're very single. King of Cups reversed and Five of Cups reversed. I would say that group two, group two doesn't love the fact that they're single. Group two doesn't, it's not that they're purposefully not getting involved with anyone. I feel that group two is kind of like stuck when it comes to romance and relationships. They're stuck. They feel stuck. They feel like nothing in their romantic life seems to go anywhere. Yeah. Queen of Swords. Group two just ends up being single. They end up being single. They end up being kind of like having to do it alone. To me, it feels like even at the times when group two has been in a relationship, even in those moments, it was almost as though they were single. They do have to kind of like do for themselves. There's a lot of independence with group two and a lot of single energy. You know, despite the fact that so many people are attracted to group two. Tell me more about what's going on with group two and this being stuck. Yeah, we have Knight of Pentacles. I would say that group two definitely has a lot of hang-ups that hold them back from getting into a relationship. We have the Knight of Pentacles, the Temperance, and the Three of Wands. I feel like group two has a good idea of the type of relationship that they want, but they're just not finding it. They're not finding it. They're not understanding which doors would lead them to that. They're not understanding, if they did find the door, how do I open the door? It feels like a very much an ongoing battle with this Knight of Pentacles that group two has been struggling to figure out how to find the relationship that they know they want. I would say that group two does want to be in a relationship, but they're not finding the pathway easy. What about towards you? As the tarot reader, I'm speaking to this other person. What can I tell you about how group two feels about you romantically. How does group 2 feel about you romantically? And as a side to those of you watching, like, again, this is where you got to focus and understand what I'm saying. All right. I'm pretending to talk to this other person about you. Okay. How does group 2 feel romantically about you specifically? Oh my goodness. I really feel like group 2 is very just, life has got group 2 stuck in a lot of ways. We have the 9 of Pentacles reversed. I mean, I feel like group 2 is trying to break free of something that is holding them back from their best life. Upright, the 9 of Pentacles is, we're living our best life, right? Here it's reversed. And not only is it reversed, like even on this deck, even when it's upright, she's like caught up in her own braids. Like her braids have almost become like a chain. I'm just reading this as group 2 is really struggling to figure out like how to create their best life, basically. What's the problem? King of Wands. That group 2 feels that they have a lot of talents. They have a lot of charisma. We saw that with the Coquette card, right? They're very charismatic, likable person. They have a lot going for them, and group 2 knows this. I would say that group 2 is a confident person, generally speaking. They know that they have a lot going for them. They're just not sure what to do. They have talents, they've got skills, they've got charisma, but they're like, okay, what am I supposed to apply this to? Or, you know, if I am applying it towards some aspect of life, like, why isn't it taking off? You know, it's like, it feels to me like group 2 has been trying to sow their garden, right? They've been putting seeds in the garden, they've been putting fertilizer. They're just not seeing the growth in their life in general that they want. And I know the question was, how does group 2 feel about you romantically? But all of that I just said is kind of like blocking even their vision of you. Like they're barely seeing you, you know? Group 2 is barely seeing you. I mean, I would say that they think highly of you. They're seeing you as the world reversed. So when they do think of you, they're like, okay, this is a great person. Group 2 thinks that you're a great person. You got a lot going on for yourself, but like group 2 is also so like engulfed in their own stuff where they're just trying to grow their own garden, trying to create their best life and not feeling like they're getting anywhere, that they really, they're not thinking about you as much as you are of them. So how do they feel about you? I mean, they have a positive view of you. We have the shared energy is the 7 of Swords reversed. I mean, I would say like when they do think about you, there's a lot of understanding. There's a lot of awareness of you. They do have like a good understanding of who you are. Group 2 does. Group 2 has a good understanding of who you are. We have this 7 of Swords with all of the eyes on it, right? But it's just, they're not thinking about you all the time. When they do think about you, it is very immersive. It's very expansive. So I hope that's making sense. Group 2 feels that they really understand you very well. Maybe more than the average person does. Probably so. But at the same time, it feels like their mind is very focused on how to create the life that they're trying to create for themselves. And so they don't necessarily have a ton of time to think about you. And I don't think they have as much time to spend thinking about you as you have to think about them. But how does group 2 feel about you romantically? Like, what are their feelings romantically? 6 of Pentacles. I mean, it's, you know, it's balanced with how you feel about them. They can relate to you. I would say that. Like almost like you're the same person, except maybe they feel like you're almost like you're sort of twins in a way. I'm not saying twin flames, but you know, I know some people are going to take it that way. But group 2 does see a lot of themselves in you, and they feel like maybe it's vice versa, that you both do that. They do, you know, when they are thinking about you, they enjoy it. They enjoy their thought processes about you. They enjoy spinning their mind around you. This is a very thinky energy. They think about you more than they feel about you. But there are times when it is a bit more passionate. We have the 8 of Wands. There are times when it's more like exciting and they do feel those sort of like butterfly feelings about you. What is the most important thing for this person to understand about how group 2 feels about them romantically? The most important thing for you to understand, there's a lot of mutual respect here for sure. But group 2 is kind of going through it. Like I would say that they're probably struggling with a lot of pain in their heart. The 3 of Swords, you know, like they're sad. You know, they're sad. They get sad. Okay, and this 3 of Swords is going through her back. You know, it goes back to that like carrying weight on your back. Group 2 is just carrying a lot of weight on their back. I mean, and the thing is, although there is a lot of mutual respect, life is not very peaceful for them right now, and they just don't really have a lot of time to think about you. I'm going to tap into another deck just for some final thoughts here. What do we need to know about group 2's feelings and intentions? We have the 8 of Swords. Again, group 2 is so trapped. I mean, I guess this is the thing. Like, they only have so much to give because they're trapped. They're trapped in their mind. They're trapped in their experiences right now. They feel stuck. You know, you may be able to look at group 2's life and see the way forward for them much more easily than they can see it, but they are like living life in a hall of mirrors, and they're just like, oh my God, I am determined to get out of this maze of hall of mirrors, but I cannot figure out where I am going. Where am I meant to go? You know, like life just feels like a trap right now. Life feels like a maze, and not in a good way. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I guess that's the most important message. Okay. So, now, speaking actually to group 2, I hope that all made sense. You can let me know. Does that sound like you? Would the tarot reader be accurate in saying this? I mean, you apparently like this person enough to get a tarot reading about them, but it just seems like you're not actually thinking about them as much as they are thinking about you. And I would say, just, you know, like to give you an insight into them as well, we get the 5 of Wands reversed. I feel like they don't want to be a burden to you. They don't want to bother you, because I do feel like this person does kind of understand that they are understanding, because I feel like they feel that you probably are, you know, like just going through a lot and not really able to be present or always focused on them. So anywho, let me know if that made sense. This is one of the most difficult topics to express. Does it make sense why it's difficult to express it? Because it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm talking to you, but I'm like, presenting it as though I'm talking to someone else, but also making sure that you're still on board. It can be confusing, right? Anywho, I'm moving on. All right, thanks. Leave a comment, because that's a nice thing to do. A nice comment, not a comment like, your reading resonates, but not the traffic noises. Which is an actual comment I received recently. All right, let me move on to group 3. Group 2, I hope that was helpful. Bye-bye. All right, group 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the Cyborg. And I've also shuffled and pulled a card to kind of clarify the Cyborg. And I got the 6 of Pentacles. So let's get into it. The topic is, if this person got a tarot reading about you, what would the tarot reader tell them? So I'm going to be talking and saying group 3. I'm going to be talking as if I'm a tarot reader speaking to that person, and I'll be referring to you as group 3. So one thing that you need to know about group 3 is that there's something very whimsical about them. There's something that seems not quite human, because that's what the Cyborg represents. But to me, it doesn't feel not quite human in terms of like their... Group 3 is not coming through to me as robotic. They are coming through to me as someone who has some sort of special talent that seems not quite human, like transhuman, like beyond human or something. They have some capacities that seem, maybe group 3 can even perform miracles or something. This is reminding me a little bit about you know, the miracle that Jesus performed with the bread and the fish, and was able to feed the masses with just very little. It's interesting that both of these cards have a mask that they're wearing, right? This is a robot. She's wearing a human mask. This person, half of their face is masked, and they're holding a compass over their head, and there are coins falling about them. Group 3 knows how to make money in some unusual ways. And it might be just a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, but it all adds up. They have some interesting income sources that they figured out. It's interesting. So tell us more about group 3s. They've got some talents. You know, group 3 could be putting to use artificial intelligence to help them to make money. That could be part of what group 3 is doing. And or they could be drawing upon, you know, like spell work. They could be contacting, maybe doing worshiping gods or goddesses, or even demons, or contacting demons to help them figure out how to solve problems and gain resources. Let me pause for a moment. Okay, what I'm also getting strongly here is that group 3 might be, maybe they have the support of the fairy realm, you know? It sounds strange, but like, if you've ever had this happen to you, you know that it's real. There's a sort of, this idea that gnomes can come in and repair your shoes or whatever, that type of thing. But like, actually, like fairies and gnomes and things like this, they can help you to find lost items. They can put an object in your path that you need. Stuff like that. I feel like group 3 is connected to something like this. Like they have something that is not human that is helping them. Maybe they're just very connected to spirit animal guidance, but it's something like that. Group 3 has a lot of actual assistance coming to them from something that it's not human. Maybe it's AI. Maybe it's bots. Maybe it's the fairy realm. Maybe it's their spirit guides, you know, like, etc. I've mentioned some other options before, but that's the first thing that's just coming through about group 3 as a person. What else should we say here about them? We have the Knave of Chalices, the Knight of Chalices. They're a lover. They're a romantic. Group 3 is like very poetic, dreamy. You know, like I can see group 3 living the life of like a starving artist, or like romanticizing the life of a starving artist. I feel like group 3, even though they do have interesting income streams or like ways of acquiring things, right? Ways of acquiring what they need. You know, whether it's a fairy helps them find, you know, a pen when they need a pen to write, or whatever it happens to be. Like, they have interesting ways of connecting to the material world, but like group 3 is not a material person. They are a lover. We have, you know, they're represented by 2 of the court cards of the cups. They're more living their life from their heart and from their feelings, from their emotions. They feel their way through life. Again, a very poetic, dreamer, wanderer type person. I almost feel like in order to get through life, sometimes group 3 almost has to put on a mask because they're so different. You know, it is giving a little bit of this wacky, like Johnny Depp type quality, or like someone who's even more than that, wackier than that, right? He plays a lot of wacky characters. He's a little wacky himself as well, but, you know, someone who's like, they're so kind of bizarre and like not really of this world that they almost have to pretend to be like, quote unquote, normal just to do the normal things. Like going to the grocery store is a normal thing. How do I fit in and like try to make myself normal, right? Like, this is what group 3, it's not, I don't think they're trying to hide themselves. They struggle a lot. I would say group 3 struggles a lot with fitting in, with belonging. But they, you know, they're like sort of a poet at heart. They, but maybe, or maybe not literally a poet, but like someone who lives from the heart, who experiences the world in this more like emotional, symbolic way. Yeah, dreamy way. We have the 3 of Wands. And this card always reminds me of that Twilight Zone episode with the guy who loses his glasses, which always had such an impact on me because I've worn glasses since I was in the 2nd grade, and I always loved to read. And, you know, the Twilight Zone episode, let me know in the comments if you've seen this. It's one of the more famous episodes, I think. I think it strikes fear into a lot of people's hearts, but this guy, he worked at a bank, right? He hated working. I mean, who doesn't? He didn't care about the material world. He didn't care about money, right? He cared about reading books. So for him, it was ideas, but he wanted to escape into, you know, well, or the imagination of books, the stories, right? To escape into that rather than live in the actual reality. And then there was like, I don't know what happened. Some sort of apocalypse happened. He had hidden in the safe of the bank. And so to read a book, right? He was escaping. He was reading a book. He's like, oh my God, this world, this bank, I don't want anything to do with this material world. I just want to escape into my book. And then there's an apocalypse while he's in the bank's vault, right? So he emerges safe and he's the only one alive. So he has all the time in the world to read, and that's just what he wants to do, is to escape into books, right? He doesn't care that everything is destroyed. It's like almost like a positive for him. He's like, now I have all the time I want to read. But then he drops his glasses and they break. You know, where was I going with that? I mean, group 3 reminds me of this type of person. just wanting to escape reality into idealism, into the imagination, into things like books or movies or video games or art, music. But it pains them and it causes problems for group 3 because we still have to navigate this world, right? Like, banks exist. We may or may not like them, right? I mean, they're banks. They're here. Grocery stores. We got to eat, right? Like, these types of things, just like all of us, group 3 has to navigate them. But they struggle a bit. Okay, so that's what I'm getting about group 3. What I'm picking up about them as a person. But how does group 3 feel about you? As an aside to group 3, remember what we're doing here, okay? You're overhearing me talk to this person about you. Back to the reading. So how does group 3 feel about you in a romantic sense? I feel that they have the lust for you, but you know, group 3's idea of lust, again, this group 3 is kind of a weird person, you know. I'm not shaming, but they might have some kind of weird kinks. It's not really disturbing, it's just like kind of oddball kinks, I would say. I feel like they do specifically want to lay in the bed with you. We have 4 of Swords, which is normally about rest. I think they do want to be with you physically, but they might especially desire to sort of curl up with you, like spooning, or even laying back to back, which is the kind of the opposite of spooning. But there's lots here about wanting to lay in bed with you. Sometimes they want to lay in bed and just gaze at you and stare into your eyes. I feel that group 3 looks at lots of images of you, or has looked at lots of images of you. It's like it's coming through to me that they've seen you in lots of different photographs. This feels like primarily maybe online that they've seen these, but like you look different in different photographs. In any case, they have lots of, they look at you a lot, and they imagine you a lot as well. So they look at you actually with their eyes, like looking at pictures or looking at you. But they also close their eyes and they can imagine you, and they do this a lot. I feel like group 3 might be assuming that you might be more attracted to them as some sort of package deal, right? Like maybe you want to be with both them and their friend or something, or like they would have more luck getting your attention if their friend was with them, because then the 3 of you could strike up a conversation or something. Yeah, I feel like, you know, group 3 wants to spend time alone with you, but it feels like they feel like they're more likely to spend time with you in more of a group setting. Maybe it's even a little bit of a safety blanket for them to have other people around. But I don't know, like they also seem to sort of resent it because they're like, okay, I really just want to spend time alone. Group 3 wants to spend time alone with you, and they feel blocked, or like that they haven't had the luck that they want in order to make that happen. Yeah, the Moon card. Group 3 has very deep feelings about you. I think they wonder a lot as well, like, Group 3 feels like you might be comparing them to someone else. I was getting this before, and we have this Six of Wands with these two people who are different people, but they're very similar. Same thing here on the Two of Cups. I don't know. It's like they feel like maybe, do you really love me, or do you love this other person more? Do you compare me to this other person? If so, like, you know, do I stand out, or do you just see me in the same way as you see this other person? It does hurt them a little bit, I would say. They feel a little bit rejected, or they feel that potential of rejection, that you might like someone else more than them. They feel like maybe you just lump them into a category with other people who are similar, like, oh, Group 3 is one of those people who is like this. And it's like Group 3 wants to stand out to you as an individual who gets special notice from you. Group 3 definitely wants you to see them as an individual and to see what's unique about them and to find that to be special. But they have a lot of doubts about it. They have a lot of doubts that you do actually feel that way. And I don't know, it makes them sad. I do feel like, you know, if it gets to be too much, the sadness that they have about you, they find ways of escaping that because they're good at escapism. You know, that could be different things. Maybe it's literature or music or movies. Maybe it's alcohol or weed or, you know, some combination of these things. But I do feel like they escape from time to time. Because, yeah, they have pretty pessimistic. They're pessimistic about whether or not you actually really like them. And I think sometimes they are actually trying to stand out to you and get your attention and impress you, and it may be actually coming across the wrong way. So if it ever feels like Group 3 is coming on too strong, or like being kind of pushy or arrogant or something like that, it's like actually they're trying to impress you when they do that. They're trying to play up their confidence in front of you. But I feel like maybe it doesn't come across the way that they want it to, or it's not making them as appealing to you as what they are hoping. All right, so pause there for a moment. So that's what I'm getting, you know, like that's what I would tell this person about you, Group 3. You can let me know. That was an interesting ride. You can let me know if that makes any sense or not. Please let me know. That helps, you know, and it's just a kind thing to do. But just from your end of it, Group 3, I'm talking to Group 3 now. What should you know about this person's thoughts and feelings about you? I'm just going to get a short snapshot of that because that's not the topic of this reading. However, you know, I'm just going to add that in. We get the Sun card reversed. I would say that they do kind of, this person does kind of pick up that they are special to you. Like they do kind of get it, but this is the Sun reversed. I don't think that they're totally clued in to how focused you are on them. We have the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, they're not... I feel like their thoughts and opinions of you come and go. It's very changeable. That said, they have some recognition that you find them to be special, but they're not totally aware of how much that is true. I'm not really sensing a strong romantic attraction from them to you. But again, that isn't the point of this reading, so I could be wrong. All right, group 3. Thank you for watching. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.